This video I'm going to share my thoughts on the fastest way to learn how to fight. Alright, the fastest way to learn how to fight, it's not about styles or anything like that. It's just about finding somebody, who could just beat you up. Finding somebody who's just really, really, good at fighting. And then he just constantly beats you up, whoops you up, and forces you to figure out like what to do to get so you don't get beat up anymore. So when you got somebody like Floyd Mayweather Jr. and then Floyd Mayweather Sr., from the very beginning, since birth, you got this father who's a professional boxer who just beat up his son constantly. Not beat him up, put him in the hospital, but beating him up like in a game where he still keeps him relatively pretty safe, but teaches him by just beating him up. So most people don't have fathers that are that talented in any fighting methods, so then they have to go seek for professionals or experts or masters or teachers who train in combat and are proficient in combat, and then essentially can beat up a lot of people. And you meet up with one of these people and you just constantly have this person beat you up until you finally get better. And then the thing is, when you get better and better, and then there's less people in this world that can beat you up, then it's going to be harder to get better than where you're at, because there's nobody that's going to be giving you that challenge to improve. I mean, there is only so much that you could do with a wooden dummy, shadow boxing, forms training, hitting with a punching bag, using the focus mitts. You cannot really replicate, with any inanimate object, a person's reflexes and their responses and their speed and their agility and their ability to evade attacks and hit you back and respond and intercept your techniques. Like, you just cannot replace that. So when you got a Bruce Lee who's raising his son Brandon Lee, and he's constantly beating up his son, like play fighting or whatever, it forces him to get better at certain things that he can never really get better at without that human being providing that type of unique training, that fight experience. It's like constantly getting in fights, not unsafely, but safely, scientifically, like constantly getting in fights over and over again until you just improve. That's how you get better at fighting quickly. So when you hire a teacher or a coach or a trainer, you're hiring somebody to pretty much constantly beat you up, until you have no choice but to figure out how to get better. And he doesn't necessarily even have to tell you. It's just, to me, it's like playing chess. The person that you're playing against is not supposed to tell you the moves that he's going to make. If he does tell you, then it's not going to help you get better, because you're not supposed to know what he's supposed to do, what he's going to do. You're supposed to figure it out on your own. And then when you constantly play with somebody in chess and he just constantly keeps beating you, you have to use your mind, use your intelligence to figure out what you have to do to beat this person in this game. Or playing one-on-one basketball. That's kind of how fighting is to me. Like playing one-on-one basketball. Like, he's not supposed to let you win. He's constantly give you a challenge and keep beating you over and over again until you finally figure out how to get better, you know, to win. And it's just these constant experiences over and over again is what makes you better. So when you're hiring a teacher, he's doing that for you. He's being that person there to constantly beat you up. And that's the thing about this online training, where anywhere you're learning online, how is a person supposed to beat you up? You're watching a video on Donnie Yen or Bruce Lee or whoever, Mayweather, Muhammad Ali. They're not beating you up. They're beating other people up, but they're not beating you up. You have to find somebody to beat you up. Not someone that beats other people up, but someone that's beating you up, like right before your eyes. And that's the thing that online training cannot ever provide. It's like getting better at fighting. It requires a human to human direct experience that cannot be replaced. Everything else is just like more supplemental training to prepare you to get ready for that main experience. Like all the fitness training, all the stretching, all the forms technique training, the wooden dummy, the punching bag, the focus mitts, the shadow boxing, that's all in preparation for the ultimate experience. But if you never have the ultimate experience over and over and over again, then you're never going to really improve in real fighting. It could be fantasy fighting. It could just be, you know, all in your head. Just, it's false. You know, you have this false sense of security on your abilities because you never even tested, you know, what you can do. But it's also about who you're testing it against. You know, Bruce Lee's famous for saying the statement, you know, and Enter the Dragon, like, boards don't hit back. Okay, boards don't hit back. You know, but a brick wall doesn't hit back either. But essentially, you could break your hand if you punch it too hard, because you won't be able to break that brick wall. You know, and it also depends on who's hitting back. You know, who are you fighting against? Are you fighting like a 5-year-old and you're like 21? Well, the 5-year-old's hitting back, but that don't mean nothing. He's not a challenge to you. Like, who's hitting back? You know, if you're 130 pounds and then the person that's hitting you back is like over 200 pounds, then yeah, you know, that's something real coming at you. And if you could demonstrate proficiency in defending yourself against somebody who's really powerful trying to hit you back, then that's a good, that just shows skill. You know, who is hitting back? Like, is the person skillful that's trying to hit you back? Is it Floyd Mayweather that's trying to hit you back, or is it just some person that's, you know, handicapped trying to hit you back and can barely move? You know, so you need to seek out people that are talented, that are fit, that are healthy, that are strong, that will try to hit you back to test your techniques. Now, if you have a brother that's into training like you, and you constantly, you know, fight with your brother, then that's how you're gonna get better. Or your father, or your uncle, you know, or your cousin, or any family member. Find any family member that constantly beat you up, then that's how you're gonna get better. But if you don't get any family members, then okay, which one of your friends can beat you up? Constantly working with your friends to have them beat you up is what's gonna get you better. When you can't find a friend, and you can't find a family member, then you gotta hire somebody. Hire somebody, you know, who's a professional, good at what he does, and have them constantly beat you up until you get better. And that experience cannot be replaced. Fighting is like intimacy, you know, it's like the sexual act is something that can't be replaced by computers. You know, you can have all the pornography videos in the world, but it's not going to give you the experience of being intimate with another human being, like in the moment. And that's how fighting is. You know, fighting, you can train all you want by yourself with as many, you can watch as many videos as you want, read as many books, but if you never ever have a person right in front of you constantly beating you up, forcing you to get better, then you're never going to truly understand what it takes to be good at fighting. You know, and you know, that's pretty much what it is. That's the fastest way to get better at fighting, is to simply just fight. But you gotta fight in an intelligent way. You know, very intelligently. Like, smart. Like playing chess, playing basketball, playing ping pong, playing billiards, you know. You should be able to play hundreds of thousands of games without having to go to the hospital for whatever reason. And that's how, you know, smart fighting should be. You know, scientific fighting should be. You should be able to experiment constantly over and over, you know, with your abilities and the techniques that you know on what works and what doesn't. You should be able to experiment with it over and over and over without having to jeopardize your health and having to go to the hospital. And if you do it the right way, then you surely will be proficient in defending yourself when necessary.